good win Friday night, but last Friday night against Limerick, but obviously a tougher and a bigger challenge on Friday with Rovers.
Yeah, I think, you're right from the outside. I think, there's a lot of talk about Shamrock Rovers. Obviously, with Pat coming in last year, halfway through the season, he felt that sort of, he inherited probably Trevor Crowley's team, so he's done a lot of work in the off-season. There's a lot of talk about Rovers. Obviously, they've won their first 2 games. There's huge expectations for them. They feel they're going to win the league. They brought in Fahy, brought in Danny North up front, and so from that point of view, I suppose they fancy themselves. So for us, it's going to be a good test for us. Obviously, we got out of Sligo with the late equaliser. Did really well against Limerick. To be fair to Limerick, I think it's going to be a hard season for them. But it was nice for us in front of a big crowd to score 5 goals, and it's the highest amount of goals we've scored since I've come in. And but we know that it's a huge challenge. The Rovers, they'll be favourites. But still, at the same time, we played Rovers 3 times last year. We played them once when Pat was in charge, and we won 3 times against them. So, it's going to be a good test, and we know it's going to be very, very difficult. But, I just feel that since the pre-season, our fitness levels are good, and we're beginning to sort of, training has been very good, and I suppose I think we're beginning to gel a bit better,
Any injury worries for Friday night?
No, I think the only ones that are in doubt probably is Rob Lehan is back training, but he won't be ready for the weekend. Neither will Michael McSweeney. Dan Murray has a groin issue, and we're hoping he'll train tomorrow. But other than that, I think we should have everyone available.
What about Bucks? He was sick on Friday.
No, but yeah, he was just sick. He just picked up a bug, and after half an hour he just felt weak during the match, and he came off. It was nothing to do with concussion or anything like that. It was just he was physically weak because he was sick, and possibly in hindsight we shouldn't have started him. But he trained this week, and he's fine.
And a word for the crowd last Friday night again.
Yeah, I think it was. We were anticipating that we would have a big crowd, but I don't think anyone thought we'd get to 5,000 for that game. But it was absolutely phenomenal. And look, I keep saying, and I'm genuine about this. The crowd were really, really important to this team, and you can see they make a huge difference. And what was pleasing was that the crowd was so big. The crowd were in early. There was huge vocal, huge noise right from the start. And look, it was a great start for us. We have obviously a huge game Friday night, and then obviously we're back to Galway next Tuesday. So we just need to stay in the top 2 or 3, during the season to keep the crowd there, and see where we're at the running then.
Do you plan to mix and match to kind of take the challenge your different opposition on in your own selection? Yeah,
I think so. I think it's slightly different. I think we have a much bigger panel this year. We have different dynamics. And I think you have different type of situations where you ended up in Sligo, as I said at the start of the season, playing in conditions of gale force wind and rain, and we picked the team on the night because we had been up there from the previous night. You could see the conditions were going to be really, really bad, so we made a few adjustments. I think last week against Sligo or against Limerick, you could see we changed the team because we knew we had to attack them right from the start. We knew they were vulnerable. So I think that's just the way it's going to be. And, I've spoken to the players about that maybe last year we were feeling maybe the same 11 for quite a few weeks because maybe our options weren't as great. I think this year it might be slightly differently. And also I think that you might find more of a gap this year between some of the top clubs and some of the bottom clubs. I think last year when you look at it, Bray took results off us. Bray took results off Dundalk. Athlone took results off us. So if you look at the teams that were in the bottom 3 last year, they were quite capable of taking results. I think some of the clubs this year have cut their budgets. I think it's going to be difficult. So I expect that maybe the gap this year between some clubs might be bigger than might be different and bigger than people might have thought. So time will tell, but certainly we plan to sort of make a few changes depending on the fixtures. And the second thing I suppose is that we're going to end up with more matches this year, obviously with Atlantic Cup, with Europe, and already we have a midweek match next week. We're already in discussions with St. Pat's about moving the league match between ourselves, because obviously we're both in Europe at the same time. So things like that are going to end up being changed. So from that point of view, you're just going to have to rotate your squad a bit more.
And Danny Morrissey over his flight, I hope.
Yeah, it was like, I suppose, I was on the show the other night, Soccer Republic, and it's interesting to go up and see what goes on there. But it was assumed, at the tackle that, on the night people said it wasn't a sending off, that it wasn't even a booking. I think, look, Danny had a gash in his leg. Shane Duggan isn't a malicious player, but I think he was slightly late, and whether he deserved to be sent off or not, I think his second leg caught Danny, and I think that's where the referee was right on top of the situation, and Danny got a bit of a fright, but thankfully, I suppose when you've been out for a year, these things happen, but thankfully he recovered, and as I said to him, he's very close to match fitness. Starting him, we felt was a bit of a risk, but it was great for him to get 60-70 minutes under his belt, and he's very close to being back in the team regularly, and it's great for us to have him because he offers us something that no other striker in the club does, because he's got exceptional pace, and he's worked really hard in pre-season, and he's nearly there at the moment.
Johnny, we could have 5 internationals on the pitch on Friday night. The ingredients are there for a cracking match, I presume.
Right, yeah.
3 Rovers with 2, Fahy and McPhail.
Yeah, I think as I keep saying, Rovers are talking themselves up this year. They fancy themselves. They've invested heavily. They've really good players. Steve McPhail, Keith Fahy, we know about them. But at the same time, they've other good players. They've Madden at right back, who's been a really good lad. They've Ken, who's the captain in the centre defence. They brought Patrick Craig back in from Scotland, and still they have the fellas like McCabe, who's a really good player, O'Connor and Waters. So they've lots of options. The fact that there's so many internationals or former internationals playing, I think is good. It's good for the spectators, and I'm sure the Shamrock Rovers crowd are looking forward to looking at Liam and looking at Colin and looking at Alan Bennett. So from that point of view, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a good high quality game, and they like to play, we like to play, and I think it'll be a high quality game which you'd expect. So just let's hope the conditions are better than the first weekend, and so we know it's going to be difficult, but at the same time we're working hard all week, we're preparing for the game, and we certainly think we can get a result.
Have you been surprised, John, at how well the new signings have settled into the side?
I suppose, Dennis, not really, because I think the Cork lads, the likes of Liam and Benno, like Benno knows the scene because he's been here before. Liam has a lot of friends. You look at Nults and Colin and John Cotter. So I think it was an easy situation for him to fit in, because it wasn't that he was going to a club where he needed to know people. Straight away he came in and knew half the squad. Yeah. So from that point of view, I suppose Shep is a man on a mission, because he felt that last year was a disappointing season, but if he didn't get a proper run, and I think he's come into pre-season and done really well, worked hard, and I think it was good for him last Friday night. He didn't score, he did everything but score, but I think he did really well, and there's an option playing him with Mark, there's an option playing him with Danny, there's an option playing with him with Flinney. So I think he gives us lots of options there. Gavin is coming again, another young lad. I suppose the difference with Gavin is that he'd been in England as a young fella. He's down living in Cork, so he has been away from home. So it's not like he's been living at home and moving to Cork. It's been he's been away since he's 16 years of age. So he's come in and he settled down and came into Cork and started January, got his apartment and has settled down, and his girlfriend is working here locally, and he's quite happy and he's really doing well. So I suppose I just had a feeling from the outside they're 2 down-to-earth guys and they settled in really well. Kieran is a different type of player, because Kieran I suppose he had come back in from London. He's been here for a year or 2, but we moved him at Ross to try and get him settled down. So really, I suppose they've all settled very well. But I wouldn't have thought it would have taken the Cork lads too long to settle coming back home.
We saw Gavin Hoon come off the bench and score a great goal the last day.
Yeah.
The strength and depth is definitely there this year, isn't it?
You hope so. It looks that way on paper, but you know, obviously it has to be done on the pitch. I think the good thing for Gavin is that, you know, he sort of played the right side up in Sligo, and he did well under difficult conditions. And that type of game, you know, maybe he was a bit unlucky that he didn't start at home the first game. But the good thing about it was that the minute Bucks came off and he went on, he was straight into the game, which is exactly what we needed. And it was great for him to score that goal, because we see it every day in training. He's a fantastic striker, anything from 25, 30 yards. He's really well able to do that. So we're used to seeing that at training. So it was a great goal, and hopefully he'll score a lot more of those goals. And for his own point of view, you know, I need him to keep the pressure on. I need him to be in the team. I need him to be on the edge of the team, that if he doesn't start, that when he comes in, he can make an impact straight away. And I think last Friday you could see he did.
John, having won 5-0 against Limerick, you'd be slow to make changes maybe for Rovers, but you might make some for the Galway match then, kind of weaker opposition and at home.
Yeah, I think you have to weigh it up in the sense that, you know, I don't want to get carried away. Look, it was 5,000 people, it was 5-0, it was great for us. But to be fair, you know, Limerick are not the team they were last year. There's been a lot of changes. Martin is still bringing a lot of young fellas in. At the same time, we've still to go out and beat them, because 2 weeks previously we didn't do that. So and we played really well. But I think that you know, totally different type of game this week, going to Shamrock Rovers, into their crowd. They expect to win. You know, they expect to go for the title. Different challenge for us to have a better team, better players, and you know, will we make changes? We may well do. You know, we're working on a few things at the moment, but the good thing for me at the moment, everyone is fit, everyone wants to play, and they're all on the edge trying to get the game, and you know, that's a good place to be in.
Just one other one there, John. Just the League Cup drawn away to Waterford United. There, you might give us your thoughts on that too.
Waterford away, yeah. Just disappointed in the way draw, but look at when is that in a month's time?
Yes,
in April, yeah. So I suppose, look at when it comes up. The good thing about it, it probably gives an opportunity of a game where I'm sure it'll give a chance to rotate and give a lot of fellas a game, and that maybe are that at the time are on the bench or whatever. So from that point of view, it's you know, it's a cup game. Gives you an opportunity, I think, to get to the quarter final. You know, Waterford, you know, we played them in pre-season. It was 0-0 on a very bad night. You know, we go down to their place. Pitch is good, and we look forward to when the time comes. And obviously, we want to progress. But you know, I think at the time when it comes up, it might be an opportunity to give the lads that maybe haven't played the previous Friday night a game. You know, so we'll see close to the time. You know.
Mark, I suppose belated congrats on the goalkeeper of the year last year, and a clean sheet again at home last Friday night. Looking forward, obviously, with huge confidence in this season.
Yeah, obviously it was nice to get goalkeeper of the year last year. You know, it's nice for people to recognise how good you've done throughout the year. But obviously a lot of it has to go down to the back four, back five. You know, it's not just a goalkeeper thing. And even though I got the award, it's a big thanks to all the lads that were in front of me. And you know, so far this year, we conceded late against Sligo now, which was tough. But like you say, a clean sheet Friday night was a welcomed thing. And like you say, going to Rovers game now Friday, hoping for another one.
And have you set in yourself a target to beat last year's 17, or
no?
You just take it as you come?
Yeah, just take it as you come. You know, like probably set little targets. You know, a couple of games in March and how many clean sheets I would like to keep. And so far, obviously, I'm on target for. I've kept one already out of two, and there's a lot of games to come. Like I think it's 33 league games this year, and I'll try to keep as many clean sheets as I can. 17 was a good number last year, and no doubt if we can match that again this year, we will definitely be up there challenging. And
with Liam and Benno coming back, it's like a kind of Ballincollig reunion, is it?
Yeah, a lot of Ballincollig boys there now, to be fair. And you know, there's a lot of top players. Like you look at Benno being a top player for Cork, and obviously when he went to England, he captained a lot of clubs in England. You know, shows the experience he has. You know, Liam Miller, you've Colin Healy, myself. It's a lot of experience there. You know, people might say we're pushing on, or you know, we're getting to the mid-30s now, but you can't beat experience. And you know, especially when you look at the boys that are there, they're unbelievable players, and experience as well on top of that. It beds in well for the season ahead.
Mark, having been to Rovers 3 times last year in the league, you have to kind of guard against complacency now on Friday night. You might be going up there with a kind of a superior attitude.
Yeah, do you know, like we know Rovers is going to be a tough game. Like John said earlier, like everyone seems to be bigging up Rovers this year, saying they're the team to beat. They've had a good start. They've 2 wins from 2, but we'll go up there. We won't fear them. Like you said, we beat them 3 times last year. I don't think we did any of the games as favourites. Even last year, every time we played them, it was all Rovers. And so far, the season seems to be the same. We won't fear them. We know they're a good side. They have some quality players, but going up to Dublin on Friday night, we won't fear them, and we'll be going for the 3 points.
As the goalkeeper, Mark, do you have to adjust much, like depending on who's in the back four? Like John was saying, how he has more options in the bigger squad this year. Like there's 6 or 7 fellas who can play in the defence. Like, do you have to kind of take cognizance of that, or does it affect your game to a great
No, not really. Like you look at it in training, when we're training, you know, I could have Dan Murray, I could have Darren Denny in front of me in training, or I could have Benno and Michael McSweeney or Johnny Levy. So I get to play with the boys every day. It doesn't really matter. Don't come game night, obviously, once all the boys are fit, no matter who goes in there, I think he can do just as good a job as the other player. So like you said, we 5 or 6 boys that can play in centre half or right and left back, and no matter who plays, I think they're all as good as one another. So a good understanding with all of them, because trained with a lot of them for the last couple of years now. So no, I have no problems with that.
Mark Dennis was asking John there about how the lads have settled in since the new signings. How are the rest of the squad getting on with those lads coming in and settling so well? I mean, I imagine it's providing an awful lot of competition in the squad, and it's very evident. Like,
yeah, it's a good thing to have competition within the squad, but no, you swear the boys that have come in have been there for the last 2 or 3 years. You know, we go in the mornings, we have a breakfast in the mornings, and we're all in the one meeting room, and we're all chatting away, having a crack. It's like the boys have been there all the time. I think when you come to Cork, everyone seems to say it. Any fellas from outside of Cork that come in always seem to enjoy the time in Cork, because Cork people seem to be, well, for me, nicer than anywhere else in the country, and make people feel welcome, and that's what it's been like in the dressing room. And like I said, you swear the boys have been there the last couple of years, the way everyone's getting on, and it's obviously a good thing. If everyone gets on, then the team is doing well and pushing each other, and hopefully you can go and try to do as well as you can in the league.
So when you were growing up, kind of thing, what goalkeepers did you kind of look up to or model yourself by?
Obviously, I've seen Phil Harrington play a lot, you know, and obviously I was only thinking of the other day how good of a goalkeeper Mick Devine was. You know, I see him a few times when I was a supporter watching the games, and obviously to come in then and be behind Mick Devine for a good number of years. You know, he was a top goalkeeper, also a top fella. You know, little things like help me out with gloves when obviously I didn't have any gloves at the time and stuff like that. You know, he'd always come in and sort you out with a couple of pairs, and you know, it's the thing I try to model myself on now. When Mick sorted me out, how nice and how good of a person he was, I'm starting to do the same now for the younger lads, the 19s and that. You know, trying to help them out, because it's always little things that help. You know, so Mick Devine would be a big one out that I really looked up to.
Yeah, across channel, anybody?
No, not really. You know, there's a lot of top goalkeepers in England and all that, so you could say one week it could be this fella, that fella, so there was no one keeper that really stood out for me. But obviously, to look at now, Hugo Lloris, I think, is a keeper that, like, you know, he's so sharp off his line, he's good with the ball at his feet, he's a good shot stopper, and you know, he'd be a kind of fella now that I'd really watch a lot of and see how he gets around the box and stuff, because obviously the way the game is going now, that's the way keepers are. They have to be quick off the line. You know, they're like another defender. It's not just goalkeeper. Yeah, it's not just goalkeeper making a save now. It's, you know, the one coming off the line and getting the ball at the edge of the box is just as crucial as making a save in the last minute or something like that. You know, so he seems to be the one, I think, that's miles ahead of everyone else in that kind of terms of things.
Your dad played on goal, didn't he?
Yeah, there was actually a lot of pedigree of goalkeepers in my family. You know, my dad and 2 or 3 of my uncles all played in goal when they were younger. You know, so it's obviously good, because go to games on Friday nights and you've all my family there. You know, you've my dad's a goalkeeper, you've my 2 uncles that go every week to games. They were both goalkeepers, and obviously they tell your faults and stuff like that. But I think it's only just trying to beat themselves up a small bit more, maybe.
No lack of advice?
No lack of advice. No, like, no matter what, like if I come off after the game and I think I've done well, my father's the first fella to, you know, as a parent and all that, he obviously always want to see you doing well, but if he thinks I've been doing 1 or 2 little things wrong, he's not short of telling me and giving me advice and things like. But no, you know, like, all you got to look at is Phil Harrington, and like Phil Harrington week in, week out, day in, day out, and he's obviously a top guy, and that he's the fella I take most advice from.
Do you get to play much golf during the season, Mark?
I used to play quite a bit, but now I've got 4 children now, so my time is limited now on the golf course, you know. But No, maybe in the summer now, the break and that, now I get out for a few rounds of golf, you know, but other than that, no.
You were down pretty good, weren't you?
Yeah, I was down to nearly 10 or 11 in my handicap, you know, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
You know, you look at a lot of professional footballers, maybe in England, would have a lower handicap because they seem to have more time off. I'd say handy if John gives another few days off and that, like, but no.
Johnny D is a handy golfer, isn't he?
Johnny Levy, good golfer. Yeah, there's actually a lot of good golfers. You know, you've Miller's a good golfer, Healer's a good golfer, Darren Dennehy, Billy Dennehy. You know, I think most footballers seem to be decent at golf. You know, because obviously, you know, we're in from 9 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. Then you've got the afternoon with yourself. So those who don't have kids and have a family can head out golfing. But as it is now for us older players, we've got a family and we've got other things to look after.